Alright, hello and welcome back to Dark Souls. So, because we upgraded our Pyromancy Flame to +10 last time, coming back here to Blighttown now spawned a new NPC.
A mere undead, yet you can see me. Fascinating. I am Quelana of Izalith. I am not often revealed to walkers of flesh. You have a gift. Are you too one who seeks my pyromancy, like Salomon? Yes, of course. It should be expected. Very well. You shall be my pupil, but to pursue my pyromancy, you must give something up. Are you prepared to do this?
Give something up. It's just gonna cost me souls, isn't it, Quelana? So she has a bunch of new pyromancies that we can buy. She is specialized in the more chaos-oriented pyromancies, like the Fire Orb and the Great Fireball and whatnot. And Solomon, the Master Pyromancer, also called the Great Fireball after this spell. Believed pyromancy was rooted in an adoration of fire. Those who acquire this spell usually agree. Yeah, we do. Primal pyromancy taught by Quelana of Izalith erect fire pillars in vicinity. It's not too much interesting lore there. I mean, there's some connection between her and Solomon, but
Long ago, I accepted another pupil like yourself. Over 200 years ago, there was a man almost as bungling as you. In your world, he was called Salomon, the Master Pyromancer. The little rascal really made something of himself.
So we have Solomon, who is like regarded as the master of pyromancy, and he was just the pupil of Quelana. I mean, of course, Quelana being an ancient being from. I mean, she's been around ever since the first flame started. Like she's been around since like ages ago. So she has taught a whole bunch of people, but Solomon seems to be the one that kind of sticks out. That seems to have been like the really good pyromancer, but of course not as important and good as Quelana herself.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again. Pyromancy is the art, but I would hate...
We'll get a little bit more out of her later on.
No luck, Well, young pupil, you must have patience, but do not keep me waiting much longer.
We also have an item over there that I very rarely pick up, but mostly because these enemies are kinda crappy to fight. Luckily for us, we can at least backstab them when we get a chance. They are kind of annoying. Now we can go in here and pick up the club. I think it is the great club, yeah. And the great club is actually a really nice strength weapon. It's a giant tree branch, serves as a wooden club, smashes enemies from upside the head. The leaping attack is a trademark of clubs, and this giant club is no exception. It's a really, really nice strength weapon. Not something that I would favor, because I usually stay away from the more the heavier weapons. That's just kind of not my playstyle. Can we get anything more from him now that we've killed Quayla?
We meet again. I have the equipment if you have the need.
I think we may have lost out on some dialogue from him, maybe because I don't have the soul anymore. I'm not sure, but now all we want to do is grab a few more items and get the heck out of here, so that we can continue our pilgrimage. And up here again being an excellent reason for picking up the spider shield. Oh. A bit of a narrow branch there to traverse, but hey, let go of me. Dang it. Someone shooting all over here? Or was that the mosquito? I'm not sure. We get the crimson set. And we also get the remedy sorcery. So, crimson set. Robe of the sorcerers who flooded New Londo to seal away the dark wraiths, and the 4 kings who descended into dark. The sealers were once known as healers, and the bright crimson was a symbol of that. So there were 3 sealers. Well, they were kind of called the sealers. They were initially just healers, I guess, of New Londo, that ended up being the ones that sealed away New Londo from the rest of the world, and like just flooded it to try to get rid of the dark wraiths and the 4 kings. The 4 kings being in possession of one of the Lord's souls that they were given by Gwen, but they kind of succumbed to the dark, as they stated in that, which is well, I mean they mean the abyss in that sense. And we got the remedy sorcery of the red-robed Yolva, one of the sealers of New Londo. Reduce bleeding and poison build-up and undo various poisonous effects. One of the New Londo's unique healing sorceries. Perhaps she abandoned her sealer duty to take her healing arts back to Blighttown. So supposedly she left her duty as guarding the seal to come to Blighttown to try to save it from the poison and the toxicity here. We'll talk a bit more about the sealers later on as well, but there were 3 of them, One of them is still present in New Londo, and we'll get a bit of a hint what happened to, or what could have been the story of the last one as well. But it's kind of interesting to note that that Yolva tried to come here and save Blighttown from the poison. Well, supposedly. We can't know that for sure, but that's kind of a clear indication from the sorcery that we found and the set of armor. Really don't wanna let him fall down. There's usually another one on the other side there, but there isn't now. Has he fallen down? Or is he? He's there. Oh, okay. He's usually on the ledge there, but apparently this time he fell. So we'll go up here and we'll take care of the last one standing on the ledges here. So usually the way that I like to take care of this is to drop down on these and try to plunge them to death. Got one of them at least. And over here we have a Firekeeper soul. Then we move carefully. I don't want to deal with one side at a time, and hopefully as few dogs at a time as well as I can. Because they are sometimes a little bit hard to hit, and they hit pretty dang hard. Now he starts shooting us as well. So there we go. All right. And we managed to get toxic anyway. We're just gonna use the blooming purple moss to negate that. We're almost out of here anyway, so we don't have to save up on the blooming moss anymore. Not really gonna need that for many more occasions in the game. It's a little bit interesting that you find a dead Firekeeper here, though. I wonder where the bonfire is that they were governing. This could have been a bonfire that they just that was removed from the game. Maybe there were supposed to be one here, but they decided to remove it to not make the game too easy down here, I guess. You can see in the little wheel there that it's actually powered by one of the dogs. It's just walking in there like a hamster wheel. No, I can't look down there apparently. If we drop down here though, we can get a better look at it. Hopefully. Yeah. That's just a silly little side note showing off that FromSoft actually has some humor sometimes. I mean, there is actually quite a bit of humor in this if you manage to take it that way, but playing these games for the first time, it's usually hard to see the humor in most things because you're so focused on not dying all the time. But now we traverse these ladders and we will get back up into Firelink Shrine eventually. We get the key to the new Londo ruins. This is the one that we will need to get into the new Londo area and get the elevator back up to Firelink Shrine. Oh, no. That was a bad parry. Kind of hard to time this when there's two of them, but it's doable. Oh god. Forgot that his that attack has such a wide swing that he kind of comes back on you. We actually managed to get poisoned by their weapon, which is interesting. Usually you don't get poisoned by them because they hit so hard anyway. But like the physical damage is so big anyway. But yeah. We managed to do it. Valley of Drakes. So that's the way back up until till Firelink Shrine, and down here is the actual Valley of the Drakes, where we found the this is the way that you can run around and get into Darkroot Garden if you want to in the very beginning of the game, because the door over here you can open up with the master key. So you can either just pick the master key as your starting gift, or the thief class will also get the master key to open this one. And from there, of course, you can also go down the back way of Blighttown if you don't want to deal with the majority of Blighttown, really. And here we have New Londo, and you can see that it's all flooded. Well, most of it is flooded. We will move on to there in a bit. The one of the two of the things that I really like doing at this point in the game when I just play through it normally is to go into New Londo and get the very large ember so that I can upgrade my weapon to +15 before even getting to Anor Londo. Which makes the Anor Londo and Sen's Fortress and everything just super easy. So I like to do that, but I also like to run down and kill Pinwheel at this point to get the Rite of Kindling, so that I have 20 Estus instead of just 10. And those two things are like stuff that is really not that difficult to do. The shortcut down to Pinwheel by just running and jumping a bit is a bit precarious, and usually takes a few tries for me to get it correctly. But if you get down there and you kill Pinwheel, then he will have a much easier time with Anor Londo, and Anor Londo, of course, being a place that causes a lot of people a lot of problem. And going into New Londo and getting the very large ember isn't really that difficult either. It can be a bit hard to deal with the ghosts and whatnot, but the dark wraith themselves down there, you like if you have done a bit of parry training, then you should be able to take care of them fairly easily. But that is not what we are gonna do in this playthrough. We're gonna go up here and realize that Anastasia is gone. We got the black Eye Orb and the dingy robe and her set, the dingy set. So we take a look at the dingy. Worn by the Firekeeper at Firelink Shrine. It is thought to have once been the white robe of a maiden, but smoke and ashes from bonfires have darkened it over the years. And we also got the black Eye Orb, mystical orb found on a keeper's corpse. Invade the world of the murderer of a Firekeeper to defeat the perpetrator and reclaim the soul of the Firekeeper. The Black Eye keeps constant watch on the city of the gods, Anor Londo. So that's the indication of where to go to actually use this orb and invade the perpetrator, and so that you can reclaim the soul of Anastasia. Fairly straightforward. And because Anastasia is no longer there, the bonfire here does not work. Firekeeper is absent. Cannot light bonfire. But now, because we have rung the 2 bells of awakening that awakened the golem that opened the door to Sen's fortress, it has also awakened another guy. If I can. Fremt is here. And the big door here in the hatch in the floor is open, and we have a big creepy snake looking guy.
Ah, hello. Was it you who rang the bell of awakening? I am the primordial serpent, King Seeker Framt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn. Chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment? Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel. I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent?
So we need to succeed Lord Gwyn and rekindle the fire that will prolong the age of fire and cast away the age of dark and undo the curse of the undead. We're not really sure what that means. Like we'll rekindling the fire just to make all of the undead not undead anymore, or like what does that actually mean? But we are tasked to go to Londo and acquire the Lord vessel. That is what we get from King Seeker Framt right here. There are two primordial serpents like Framt, and we will see the other guy as well. His that's Kath, but we will because I'm following Framt in this playthrough. We're gonna have to take a look at Kath in my other character. One of the gameplay interesting things with Framt is that you can feed him items. You can sell him stuff that you don't want. So, and like some of it has kind of weird prices to it, but you can sell like a Firekeeper soul. You can sell for 1,000 souls, which is kind of rubbish. But we can, I mean, the cracked red eye orb, for example, is something that we're never gonna use. So I can sell him 4 of those for 2,000, which is pretty good. Sunlight metal we're not really gonna use either, but I'm gonna save those anyway. But you can't sell him key items and like spells and stuff, but you can like dump all of the unwanted equipment and whatnot to him if you don't really want to have it around. It's just a way to clear up your inventory as well. Like we have 3 spears. I will not need 3 spears. I kind of need 0, but we'll keep 1 just because. And we have 3 boulder shields. I don't need that many. I mean, we don't get a lot of souls from this either, but it's just kind of a... It's kind of a nice way to just tidy things up in the inventory a little bit, because we kind of end up with extra stuff that we don't need all the time, really. But yeah, so that's kind of nice. But you can also feed him the shards and the chunks. So if we feed him green titanite shards that we have an abundance of, we will actually get 3 titanite shards per green shard, and that is something that we really want, and that's something that I can use right now to just do the basic upgrades on my equipment and my armor and my shield as well, to get them a little bit better. So I think we had around like 23 or something green shards.
Farewell, chosen.
Let's see here. Now we have 75 titanite shards. We still have 8 green titanite shards. So 75 is more than we're gonna need as well. So we'll take that, and we'll meet back up at Andre. All right. So now that we're back here at Andre, I've used up some of our shards, and I've upgraded our equipment a bit. So the boulder shield is now +8, thief mask +3, armor 6, gauntlets 3, and the leggings of 4. So we are a bit more tanky right now, and we mainly need the large titanite shards and chunks now. Well, we only need large shards and chunks, really. I equipped the ring of evil eye. So we have the ring of evil eye and the hornet ring. The ring of evil eye will just give us a little bit of HP regen when we kill an enemy. We don't really have a whole lot of like really useful rings to put in the second slot there, because the Havel's ring will still not do anything for us. But now the gate to Sen's Fortress is opened, and we can go in. and not step on this obvious trap just yet. And sometimes you can bait them out and move them into the trap themselves. There. And these man serpents being kind of excellent enemies to parry or to practice parrying on as well. They have usually are not very hard to parry. The enemy model here, the man serpents, they don't really fit into the lore very well. I feel like I feel like it's mostly kind of a fan service to their older games. I think the man serpents were in Kingsfield, maybe even Armored Core. I'm not sure, but they were definitely present in older FromSoft games. So I think that them being here is mostly just a nod back to the older games. Sen's Fortress was originally like a training ground for the Silver Knights. It seems like a place for the Silver Knights to get some training, but now it's basically just a test to see who is worthy to get into Anor Londo. But I think before Gwyn rekindled the flame and whatnot, then this place was used as a training ground, basically. Here we have an illusory wall that we can go up and say hello to the Kind Golem that helped us open the gate. This weapon again being pretty dang good against these enemies, because the two-handed upward slash is still like long enough to hit him, even though I missed the legs. But the R1 with the one-handed is a really nice slash to just slash away on his legs. One of the things that I kind of want to mention is that I know that I'm playing the game or doing the combat in a way that a lot of people would not do, because I lock on to enemies a lot, and especially against an enemy like that, it looks very finicky, and for most people they would have fought that enemy without being locked onto him. But it's just kind of it's just preference, really. I've always locked onto enemies a lot in these games, and it's just the way that it works out well for me. Just wanted to mention that real quick. Down here in the kind of tar pit, there's a bunch of Titanite demons. We don't really want to fight them yet, or I don't, because I would rather go back and do them a bit later when I'm more powerful than I am right now. We don't really have an important reason to go down there right now anyway, so we might as well just wait with it. And we were actually lucky enough to get the Man-Serpent Sword. Man-Serpent Greatsword, the single-bladed blood-stained greatsword, is the choice weapon of the slithering serpent men of Sen's Fortress. An ordinary human will have great difficulty swinging this heavy beast effectively. So not very interesting in a lore perspective, but that is definitely one of my favorite strength weapons in this game. It's an excellent weapon. Oh, he did not want to go for all of them. So on these enemies, you can see the flamberge that we could have bought from Shiva as well. So the melee guys, they have the man serpent greatsword and the lightning wielding guys with like 4 swords. They have the flamberge. And this guy is just sleeping on his job. So this is typically a wall that you destroy using one of the boulders that we will see in a little bit. But you can also, if you bait out his like stab attack, he can actually open the wall for you. So you just bait out the stab attack that he has, and if he does that close enough to the wall, then he will break it for you. It's not really super important because we have to go down here again anyway, because we don't have the key that we need. But in here we have Logan, the sorcerer that Griggs is looking for.
You seem quite lucid. A rare thing in these times. I am Logan. I'm a bit cooped up, as you can see. I have a bright idea. Suppose you set me free. I'm old and empty-handed, but I could repay you with knowledge and sorcery. This place is melting my mind. The inactivity is repressive.
So he seems pretty chill. He's just bored. Logan is just bored, and he's offering to aid us with knowledge and sorceries. We need to find a key for him though, to help him. So we will be back with him later on. Can't get into that soul item there either. So yeah, we'll get back to you, Logan. Here's the boulders that I was talking about. So if you... There we go. I was just waiting for him to come out of his little hidey hole too. This ring of steel protection is quite a nice ring to have actually, but this ring belonged to the Knight King Rendell. It grants its wearer protection by boosting defense against physical attacks. Of the many legends surrounding the Knight King Rendell, one of the more well-known speaks of his standing down a giant drake and slashing it into pieces. So actually for our cosplay, this ring would fit pretty well, because as I mentioned before, Knight King Rendell was actually living in Baldur, so we'll use his ring, and then we'll drop down here, get the shotel or shodel. I'm not sure how to say the name of that weapon correctly, but I think it's shotel. We just want to be a little bit careful so that I don't hit Siegmeyer. So, Onion Bro, what are you up to now? You're not suicidal, are you?
Oh ho! Ah, where did you come from? Splendid news, I tell you. Ah, so you see my plight. Yes, indeed. I've run up against a wall. Or a ball, to be precise. I'm afraid I'm a bit too tough to be outrunning those things. So here I sit in quite a pickle, but who knows? Perhaps we'll have another development.
Perhaps we will have another development.
Perhaps I could try some rolling. Bah, no chance. My head would spin.
It's usually what happens when you roll.
Perhaps I...
Okay. So Sigmar is up against the ball, and he solves the issue like Sigmar does, by not doing anything, just procrastinating. He's just waiting for someone else to solve it, it seems. And here we have the contraption that is controlling the balls. Down here is the where the wall is that I destroyed with the help of the man serpent. So that is kind of where you're supposed to aim it down to be able to open the wall. But we just want this to be kind of out of the way for right now, because we want to run down here and get to that item there. Oh, that was a really poorly executed attack there. I mean, the timing was not very good, not very good at all. We could jump down here for a ring. Oh, how did you get there? You're not supposed to be there, or are you? You're just gonna fall. You didn't die though. Slumbering dragon crest ring. Let's see here. There. This ring was secretly worn by a certain surreptitious sorcerer at Vinheim Dragon School. The ring is engraved with an everlasting dragon in silent slumber, and masks sound emitting from its wearer. There's a little bit of a... We'll see a little bit more about that in just a little bit. I think we kind of have to plop down there to be able to move on from here, or rather move back to where we were. So we'll get up there again. But yeah, we talked about earlier that that Griggs had okay. So we were talking about the Griggs having an armor set that deviated a bit from the normal sorcerer set, which is a bit of an indication that he's not your typical sorcerer, and that ring that we found is one that would be more typical to him rather than the normal sorcerers as well. Being more of a more of an assassin type character. And this one is a mimic. You can actually see the lid of it moving, like he's breathing or just peeking out of there. And you can also see that it's a mimic because the camera goes through the model. It doesn't on a normal chest. Ew. I wanna try to... Oh. Got a little bit messed up because I tried to lock on to him. There. And he will drop us a lightning spear, and the lightning spear is here for kind of the same reason as the crystal stuff that you can buy from Domhnall, I think, in the depths. That they're just kind of here to ensure that well, try to ensure that the player has better weapons and is kind of equipped enough to get through this and then Londo. The lightning spear is actually an excellent weapon to have as well. It's really strong at this point of the game, but if you just upgrade a kind of a decent normal weapon, it will be just as good or better. Like our Baldur's sword is gonna be better than the lightning spear. If it might be a little bit weaker right now, but it will soon outshine the lightning spear. So we got the covetous gold serpent ring. The serpent is an imperfect dragon and a symbol of the undead. Its habit of devouring prey even larger than itself has led to an association with gluttony. This gold ring engraved with a serpent and boosts its wearer's item discovery so that more items can be amassed. It's a ring that's going to be really useful for us in later on in the game. Mainly that item is good for when farming, I would say, and we're definitely gonna use it when we farm for Titanite chunks. The blood stain on this elevator should be the indication that you don't want to go all the way up. Maybe it's kind of a nice trap there that a lot of people, including myself, has fallen victim to. Oh, that one does not open from this side. I think we'll have to go down there later. For now, we continue. You can see all of these statues of the Silver Knights throughout the entire area, being kind of the indication that this was the training ground for the Silver Knights. Or possibly that it was the Silver Knights that looked over it. Right now that I talk about it, I can't remember if it explicitly states that it's a training ground for the Silver Knights, but it's kind of indicated by all of the statues of them, I would say. Oh. Caught me off guard a little bit there. I didn't think he would follow me. Another 2 large shards. up. There we have another golem. He's the one that feeds the stones into the rolling stones trap. If we just plop down here, we'll get our bonfire. And we can just get our endurance up a little bit. So what we kind of want to do now, we haven't really seen him yet, but there is another golem on the top here that throws bombs down at us. And we definitely want to go and take care of him as soon as possible. But first of all, we're gonna go over here, take care of this Berenique Knight. We get the tower shield. There's another quite nice shield to have. A great shield though, so it's very heavy. But metal great shield used by the Knight Berenique, known for his heavy armor. This thick plate of iron is heavily defensive, but ultra heavy. Great shields are very stable and deflects attack. However, one cannot parry and instead bashes with the shield. It's been a long time since I did a great shield wearing a character in this game. I like having the option to parry when possible. Thought he would do a quicker attack when he got up, but didn't. Oh shit! We got stuck in his parry. All right, there we go. And we got the Ricard's rapier. Take a look at that. A rapier with intricate decorations, chosen weapon of the infamous undead Prince Ricard. Ricard's exploits are told in a monomyth. He was born into royalty but wandered the lands in a fateful, inconceived journey. He became undead and disappeared up north. We don't really know anything more about Ricard than that he traveled the world looking for riches, basically, and he ended up here as an undead, and we find some divine blessing in there and a rare ring of sacrifice. The rare rings being originated in Kareem, and we've already looked at the divine blessing, haven't we? No, it's the first one we have. Holy water from goddess Guinevere, fully restore HP and undo irregularities. the goddess of sunlight Guinevere, daughter of the great lord of sunlight Gwyn, is cherished by all as the symbol of bounty and fertility. We'll see a good reason to that later on. But yeah. Now we want to move up and take care of that golem, so we don't have to deal with this this nonsense anymore. Or do we? No, actually, we want to go in here first. Well, if I could have made the jump, we would have the sniper crossbow there. But now we have him raining down on us as well. And we have some boulder knights in this place as well. I mean, we've already mentioned boulder in this place with the ring of steel protection, and there's just a few of them knights here as well. These guys actually have a higher drop chance of the weapon than the ones in the undead parish has. So if you want to farm these instead for the weapon, they are a better choice. Get this flame stone plate ring. I think they are a little bit more powerful than the ones in the parish as well. Okay, let's try this again, shall we? It's a Baronique Knight. A floating Baronique Knight.
Ah, what? What? Who are you? Ah, another undead, eh? I took on Sen's fortress alone. But I'm no different from those vile creatures. I was driven by conceit. Ah, you think you're different? That you can handle it? Yes, I remember that feeling. For I was the same. So, let me help you out, with your soul searching. There's nothing more to say. I'm finished. We're both on the brink, you see. End of story. You bloody fool.
You bloody fool. So he sells some black firebomb, green blossom, some titanite shards and large shards. This is really nice to be able to pick them up here. They are 4,000 souls each though, the large shards. Which is a little bit much. He sells some interesting armor and weapons as well, with the great sword, the great axe we already have, a boulder shield, tower shield, some arrows, the Katarina set, interestingly enough, and the steel set and the boulder set as well. It's mostly interesting that he has the Katarina set. I mean, supposedly he is he's selling stuff that he has pillaged from people going into Sen's fortress and not making it out. So someone from Katarina has gone here and he has pillaged their stuff. The steel set here is actually the armor set that I wore on my very first playthrough of this game. I sported the steel set, the tower shield, and the butcher's knife. That was what got me through the game the very first time. Not really a setup that I would use again now, but it's mostly because now I'm so used to having fast roll and not being so heavy. So in here we find the cage key, which is what we were one of the things that we were looking for. Key to the hanging cage in Sen's fortress. If a hapless adventurer becomes fatigued during the imprudent attempt to overcome the fortress, the Serpent men will not kill him, but lock him up in a lonely cage. Eventually, unless they have forgotten, they drag the victim off to who knows where. Yeah, we don't know where they drag them off to, but it's probably not too nice of a place. And that is, of course, the key that is gonna help us unlock the cage to Logan. Oh yeah, I've kind of forgot that I picked up the sniper crossbow. We're gonna take a look at that as well. I can't remember if there's anything interesting on that, but it's kind of a special item. So we take a look at the sniper crossbow that I fell down to get. Large crossbow with long distance used by Kareem archers, often used with sniper bolts. But while crossbows are normally easy to use, the sniper crossbow requires dexterity. Yeah, it's a very nice, like really nice piece of equipment here. Like this. Super cool crossbow. I like the visual of that a lot. Looks really cool. We can now also see the boss of this area, the big guy at the end. But first of all, we need to take care of this golem. He gone cray. You calm down now, sir. Gives us a nice little chunk. It's a really cool arena. And you can see behind the boss there would have been the entrance to Londo that is now sealed off. But him being the last test to get into the city of the gods. And there is, if you haven't seen this before, you probably have if you watch this, I would kind of guess, but there is a tradition in Dark Souls. A lot of people do this. We have Iron Tarkus here as a summon. We can summon him to help us with the boss, and the tradition is to try to get Tarkus to actually beat the boss by himself without us helping him at all, because he is kind of regarded as the best summon that you can have in the game. And if you are quick enough to run here after summoning, he will, like we've discussed before, the boss will not have the extra HP of like they would have if you summon someone, and that will give Tarkus here a better chance of doing this. We cannot do this because it's funny that a summon can beat a boss on his own, but also because the Iron Golem is kind of a joke boss, is really easy to beat. And kind of the only times that you die to the Iron Golem is when you end up falling off the side of this platform here. Which could happen to Tarkus as well. He could be thrown off right now. Well, he's doing good. Come on, Tarkus. You can do it. Show him who's the fat rolling boss. Ow. Get up. No. Not the throw. Come on. We believe in you, Tarkus. Come on. You can do it. Show him who's boss. It's kind of surprising that I haven't been able to stagger the golem yet. But just a little bit more. You only need like 3 hits more or something. Come on. No. oh. It was. I helped a little bit too much there. He accidentally got aggro on me instead of Tarkus, but yay, you made it, Tarkus. It was not an excellent fight from you there, but you made it. Well done, sir. Well done. Soul serving as the core of the Iron Golem, guardian of Sense Fortress and slayer of countless heroes seeking Anor Londo. Originally a bone of an everlasting dragon used to acquire a huge amount of souls or to create a unique weapon. So that was Sense Fortress. We kind of need to go down to Logan though, and rescue him now. But we have defeated the boss of this, and now all we need to do is save Logan. And then we can move on to Anor Londo. So with the key, we can open this elevator here that takes us down. I'm trying to remember now if it would be easier for us to use this or just to run back down, but I think I'm gonna use this and see what we end up with. There, and in here we have Logan. I'm here to help.
Oh, heavens. Thank you. I'm saved, and I'd love to resume my travels. But I must log a few things first, and I owe you a favor. I will return to Firelink Shrine. Speak with me there, so that I may impart my sorcery.
We will speak to you when we get back to Firelink Shrine after we've taken care of Anor Londo. Don't expect us to get there too soon. But for now, we need to head back up to the boss room and make our way to Anor Londo. thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.